Three friends from high school with no capital, no formal business background, just a brand that they believed in enough to start anyway. That was 2010. Today, Izipizi is in 80 countries, hiring 250 people. They're B Corp certified, and they're still run by the same three founders. But here's what I actually want to get into in today's conversation. These guys are no longer at the beginning of this story. They're at a part of the journey that's genuinely hard. They've built something in Europe that's respected, recognized, and stocked in the best retail environments, probably in the continent. And now they're trying to build something in the US where nobody really knows the brand quite yet, and where their pricing and positioning reads completely differently than it does back home in Europe. In the middle of all this, the founder that we're going to be talking to today is grappling with some very, very real questions about the ROI of doing the right thing and being a mission-led brand. These guys have already done a carbon footprint accounting exercise. They're a registered B Corp. But as they look to expand in the US, there's some real questions here about the ROI of things like mission and purpose. Welcome to Profits on Purpose, the podcast for e-commerce and CPG founders who are navigating the intersection of purpose-led entrepreneurship with the financial realities of needing to generate a profit. I'm your host, Nate Littlewood from Future Ready CFO, where I help e-commerce and CPG founders turn financial chaos and confusion into strategic clarity and decision-making confidence. Today's guest is Charles Brun, who's the co-founder of Izipizi. Charles, welcome to the show. It is fantastic to have you here, sir.
Hey, Nate. Thank you very much for welcoming me.
Absolutely. Well, Charles, you started this business 16 years ago now with a couple of friends from high school, and not a lot in terms of financial capital, from what I understand. What was it that you actually set out to do at the time, and how does today's reality of the business compared to where you began?
Yes, it's true. We are friends from high school. We met when we were 17 years old, but we started our company together when we were 23, 24 years old after our studies. Um, our first idea came from our moms. We have pretty chic Parisian moms who started to wear reading glasses when they turned 45 or even 40, 50, 55 years old and 50 years old. And they were complaining on the fact that readers were terrible, that they were ashamed to wear them, and they didn't feel fashion anymore. So our idea at that time was to say, couldn't we design cool readers that we wouldn't sell to pharmacies or grocery stores? We didn't want it to be a medical or a commodity product anymore, but we wanted it to become a fashion accessory. So we launched these reading glasses at a fantastic store at that time in Paris called Colette, which was the temple of fashion. And after Colette, we opened to many, many great other concept stores, fashion stores, design stores. And then we developed other ranges, sunglasses for adults, sunglasses for kids, sport glasses, etc. And with the aim of developing a brand and a long-term brand worldwide.
Fantastic. And tell me a little bit about how mission and impact has weaved into this story for you. I get the sense that it's a slightly different topic in Europe compared to what it is here in the US. How have you thought about that in terms of execution of the business?
Yes, it's a great question. Since the beginning, we try to do things in a good way with my partners. I think it's in our DNA, it's in our philosophy, it's in our values. So it was always in how we produce our glasses, the materials we use, how are we with our team, how we treat our suppliers, how we are with the community around us. So for many years, we were doing things well. but we never talked about it because
Mm-hmm.
for us, we never wanted our customers to buy our products for that. We wanted our customers to buy our products because they love the design, because it's an affordable price, sold in the
Mm-hmm.
best stores all over the world. And we wanted all this sustainable part to be a cherry on the cake, if I may say, and it's still the case.
Yep.
But step by step, we got more and more questions from our customers saying, hey, how are they produced? Where are they made? What are you doing for the planet, etc.? And at that
Mm-hmm.
time, there was so much greenwashing in our industry, in fashion,
Mm.
accessories, etc., that we really
Mm-hmm.
took care of how we wanted to talk about it, what we wanted to do. And we wanted to do first and then talk about it. So the
I
first thing
see.
we did in 2019 was to measure our carbon emissions, to measure our carbon footprint. It took
Mm-hmm.
us a year. And once we got the report, we told to ourselves, okay, let's take 3 years to reduce these carbon emissions by 50%, by two.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Charles, just
we're very
to
clear.
interrupt for a moment
Yeah.
there, could you rewind a little bit and just explain what a carbon footprint assessment actually is, and kind of what goes into it?
Yes, of course. It's an audit that you do internally, but with your team, but with external people also. At least it was our case.
Mm-hmm.
And you measure all your emissions for all your company. So it
Yeah.
concerns how you produce your glasses. It includes how are the materials we use, how are they shipped uh, between our suppliers and our warehouse, are they shipped between our warehouse and our customers, both for B2B and B2C, and we can come back on that afterwards. What we do with our office, what are our emissions of
Mm-hmm.
our office. We have 25 stores now. We had less at the time, but what are the carbon emissions of our stores also? So it measures everything. Um,
Yeah.
Based on that, we arrived to a number, and we saw that Izipizi, our glasses, were emitting around 4 kilograms of carbon dioxide per pair of glasses. So it won't
Hmm.
tell you much, but for example, a jeans is 25 kilograms, a bicycle, it's
Okay.
minimum 150 kilograms. So it was
Mm.
already pretty small for products, which are
Okay.
our glasses. And then we said, okay, how can we reduce that by 2? And this was a
Mm-hmm.
huge change that we can talk about afterwards, because it implied that we change our supply chain, that we change our material, that we change how we produce, etc., etc.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. We'll definitely come back to that. I'd love to learn a little bit more about how you have acted upon reducing that footprint. But
Yes.
talk to me about B Corp. You guys are a B Corp certified company. Why
Yes.
did you decide to do that, and why is it important to you?
Yes. So we are B Corp certified since more than 3 years now. So it's 2023. It
Mm-hmm.
took us time, first of all, because it's tough to be B Corp certified, and also because we really took time to consider which was the best label. At first, we didn't want to get really labelized because we had done our carbon footprints. We had
Mm-hmm.
decided to reduce by 2 our carbon emissions. By the way,
Mm-hmm.
we succeeded. Now we are 100% bio-based in the materials we use. We
Oh wow.
completely changed now our air shipments to boat
Mm.
shipments for the shipment of our products from our suppliers to our warehouse, etc. And then we got questions from our customers saying, hey, what do you do? And we said, okay, what's the best way to talk about it? And we discovered this label, which is B Corp, that we studied.
Mm-hmm.
What we liked with B Corp is that, first of all, it's tough to become B Corp. So not everybody
Mm-hmm.
can become B Corp. And what we like
Yeah.
is that it's really global. It,
Mm.
it's, it's, it measures how you deal with the planet, how you deal with your customers, how you handle your team, how
Yeah.
you handle the governance of your company, what you do with the community around you. So it's really
Mm-hmm.
360, if I may say. So
Right.
that's what we liked. It took us 1 year to become B Corp certified.
Uh-huh.
And once you are B Corp for 3 years only. And if you
Yeah.
want to be recertified B Corp, you have to do all the process again. and it's becoming more and more difficult to remain B Corp. So this is the
I see.
difficult part now.
Okay. Okay. So the carbon footprint accounting, you were aiming to get that down by half, and we're
Yes,
going to talk shortly in about some of the ways you did that. And then there's a B
yes,
Corp certification, which you did 3 years ago, but it only
yes,
lasts for 3 years. So
yes.
that must be coming up for renewal soon. And I gather
So,
there's some
yes,
questions on the table about whether or not you're actually going to do that. So let's do
yes.
these one at a time. First of all,
Okay.
the carbon accounting. It's my understanding that with carbon accounting, people talk about scope 1, 2, and 3, which are the
Yes,
different kind of levels of emissions in a
yes.
organization. Uh, could you talk a little bit about those different scopes and, where the bulk of the carbon footprint actually comes from a physical product like this? And then what have you been doing to reduce that footprint?
Yes. Uh, so what is great when you measure the carbon footprint is that there's what you do, with your company, your team, etc. And then if you
Mm-hmm.
expand from scope 1, 2 to 3, as you said, it's all the community around you and especially our suppliers. And what I like with
Mm-hmm.
that is that it forces you to involve your suppliers and to ask them making progress, improve and change how they handle. From your
Mm.
warehouse to our suppliers in Asia, we have several suppliers in Asia, especially a family with who we work since the beginning nearly, based in Taiwan. It's a family
Mm-hmm.
business from generation to generation. And what is great is that we grew together, but
Mm-hmm.
becoming their biggest customer, they followed us with our B Corp certification and our carbon footprint measurements, and they
Mm-hmm.
accepted to change how they produce, where their energy is coming from, which means putting solar panels on the roof, uh,
Oh, wow.
following
Okay.
us with our choice of
Mm.
changing our material and switching to 100% bio-based material with 45% of castor oil, for example. Well, we can talk
Mm-hmm.
about it. So this is for us, for our suppliers. So we can deep dive in this. A
Mm-hmm.
major impact for us was the shipments, because we sell
Mm-hmm.
now millions of glasses all over the world every year that we ship
Yep.
mainly from our suppliers based in Asia to our warehouse in France and to our other warehouse based in the US.
Mm-hmm.
And previously, as we were always out of stock, growing a lot, etc., most of our shipments, 85% of our shipment, was air shipments. And when we
Right.
measured our carbon footprint, we saw that more than 50% of our carbon emission came from the shipping. And what was the solution to reduce that? It was to totally switch from air shipments to boat shipments. But
Mm-hmm.
this is a huge impact because air shipment takes 10 days, whereas boat shipments
Mm.
takes from 40 to 60 days. So it
I
changes completely
see.
how you manage your stocks, your forecasts, etc., etc. So it was a big change in the
Yep.
company.
Yeah, that's huge. And I guess from a working capital and inventory perspective,
Yes,
you've
yes,
now got to finance, up to 60 days worth of
totally.
inventory, while it's
Yes,
sitting on a boat versus
yes,
financing the same inventory for 10 days before. So the working
totally,
capital
totally,
requirements of the business must have gone up significantly.
totally.
I guess to extend on that idea a little bit, tell me how much all of this actually cost you, both in terms of the agencies or consultants that I presume you worked with to actually do the carbon accounting and the B Corp certification. But then it sounds like there's also some operational cost as well, the working capital that we were just talking about. Do you have a sense of what all of this work has actually cost you, and was it ROI positive?
This is a great question. So our first carbon footprint was made in 2019. So it's a long
Uh-huh.
time ago. The first one, we did it internally, but with consultants. Now
Mm-hmm.
we do it only internally, but it's certified
Mm-hmm.
afterwards, of course, with our own
Okay.
tools because we are used to do it. So it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
cost much except the time spent from our team, which is some time. It's made by our operations team. So it would be
Mm-hmm.
more the cost of our team spending time on it. For B
Right.
Corp, there is a real cost you can measure because the
Mm-hmm.
certification depends on the size of your company. So only the certification in dollars, I would say it's around $30,000.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to add on that the consultants you have to work with, because it implies working with consultants, and
Yeah.
then all the time spent from our team. And what is amazing,
Yeah.
Dicot, is that it concerns all your team. So we have our operations team on it, we have our
Yeah.
HR teams on it, our legal and finance team on it, our marketing team on it, us with my
Mm-hmm.
partners, of course. And so it's a B Corp committee that we have with monthly meetings where we follow the progress, where we follow the paths we have to make, and the different consultants helping us. So I would say it's hard to measure, but only the external costs is around $70,000 to $80,000, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have to add all our internal costs, which is
Yeah.
not to measure.
Yeah. But I presume it must be at least in the tens of thousands of dollars worth of
Yeah,
internal costs, if not
for sure,
hundreds.
for sure.
Okay.
And you asked about the ROI.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is hard to answer because, for example, in the US, it's funny because B Corp is a US label.
Yeah.
But when I come to the US, I spend 1 week per month in the US between New
Mm-hmm.
York and different states because our office is in New York.
Mm-hmm.
When I talk to people in the US, nearly nobody knows B Corp.
Hmm.
And for them, it doesn't change much.
Yeah.
However, in Europe, it's becoming more and more known, more and more
Mm.
important. And for a brand like us, being B Corp makes a difference because it proves that we do things in a good way,
Mm.
and that
Mm.
we are a good company, if I may say.
Yeah.
It's not 100% perfect, of course, but at least we made our evaluation. We have been certified, so we passed the tests. And
Yeah.
I see more and more buyers, especially from key accounts, for which this is important. And I can
Mm.
see in our team, existing team, but also the new hiring we make, one of the
Mm-hmm.
first questions or comments we get from interviews is, you are B Corp certified. This is important for me. Congratulations.
Hmm.
I'm happy to join a B Corp company. So we
Interesting.
see this from this aspect also.
Mm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
can't say it's really an ROI that we can measure, but at least we can see it with the quality of people we hire and quality of relationship it brings with some of our customers.
I see. I see. Okay. Well, I want to talk a little bit more about the potential recertification of B Corp. So you touched on this earlier, and I want to circle back to it. You
Yes,
just mentioned as well that like the US is increasingly important here, 2 right now, but we're
yes,
trying to get it to number 1. And
yes.
again, you touched on this earlier, but there's a bit of a contrast between how the US consumer perceives sustainability and B Corp and so forth compared to Europe. With the recertification of your B Lab certificate coming up, how are you thinking about that? And does the ROI that you justified 3 years ago, does it still make sense today? Is it still worth doing?
It's a good question. So in the US, nobody knows us. At least
Mm.
few people knows us compared to European countries. So we really
Mm-hmm.
have to restart from zero, if I may
Mm.
say, to expand in the US, present and
Mm-hmm.
represent Izipizi to make sure it becomes a brand. The good
Okay.
thing in the US is that we have already amazing customers like the MoMA, Museum of Modern Art in New York, Bloomingdale's, Nordstrom, and we have great fashion design concept stores between New York, the Hamptons, Texas, California, and other states. We try to be in the greatest stores across the US. It takes
Mm-hmm.
time, and it's hard work. And at the same time, we invest in the brand through PR, publications, KOL, collaborations, events,
Mm-hmm.
etc., etc. And maybe
Yep.
opening stores tomorrow in the US. We already have 25 stores in Europe, so we would like to open stores in the US also.
Mm-hmm.
To answer your question about recertification, so we have just started the process. We know it
Okay.
will take around 1 year. As I
Mm-hmm.
was saying before, we know it will be harder to become B Corp, and it's really becoming harder to become B Corp because they
Okay.
consider the label that too many brands have become B Corp,
Oh, wow.
and that
Okay.
they want it to become harder and harder to remain being B Corp certified. Um,
Right.
so we just started the process again. It's hundreds of questions that we have to answer to,
Mm,
hundreds of justifications we have to bring with proofs of what we are doing. Once again,
mm,
all our team is concerned. So this is an amazing global team project, which is great, very time
mm-hmm,
consuming and great at the same time. So we are all gathered between the same goal. Um,
mm,
to answer your question, is there a return on investment? It's hard to say because, as I was saying, we know that in Europe, sorry, in the US, for now, few people care about it. But
mm-hmm,
we still believe it's the good way for us because we want to do things in a good way. And we believe that step by step, people's minds will probably change also, and that people will
mm,
be more concerned, more aware about it, and more sensitive to it. And it
mm-hmm.
also, as I said before, this is part of our DNA. It's part of our values. We want to do things in a good way. And for us, B Corp
Yeah.
is part of that. We are also, for example, certified Great Place to Work since
Mm-hmm.
5 or 6 years now. So this
Oh,
is the
good.
really more focus on our team. It's less hard to be Great Place to Work certified, but what we are proud of is that we are in the top 10% of the best companies being Great Place to Work. And this is hard to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And it proves also that I think we are a good company and with good managers and good values.
Okay. Interesting. And congrats on the Great Place to Work certification as well. I wasn't aware of that one.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think what I'm hearing here, Charles, is that you're going ahead with this. We don't really know what the ROI is, but you're doing it because it's, I guess, aligned with your values and your personal mission statement. You mentioned that it is helpful from a recruitment perspective. Potential employees are more attracted to doing this. Is there a risk that you get partway through this recertification process and realize that it's either too hard, too expensive, not worth it? Maybe you just get rejected and they say no to you. We've raised the bar and you're not jumping high enough. Like, is it possible that we have to abort this process partway through?
Yeah. It's totally possible. I know it's a project taken very seriously internally. It's so
Yeah.
much time consuming that we had to decide that this is a priority for 2026 and
Yeah.
2027, which
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's not easy because luckily Izipizi is growing very fast. We are expanding in many new countries, opening
Mm-hmm.
stores, launching many new products, etc., etc. So we have to handle our growth and our brand development, our brand building, and at the same time we have to handle all this recertification. But we said
Mm-hmm.
to our team, this is a priority.
Yeah.
For our directors, we know this is a priority also. They are very
Mm-hmm.
concerned, they are very involved, and they want us to get recertified also. So
Right.
so we are proud of that. So we know
Okay.
they are very involved. Next to us, we have consultants, professionals of B Corp helping us uh,
Mm-hmm.
for some analysis, helping us to save time also, making some measurements, making some follow up. So it's us internally and people externally. And
Mm-hmm.
what is great with B Corp is that they have a committee and they help you. At least
I
they
see.
guide you.
Okay.
They guide you
Mm-hmm.
more than help you. Uh,
Yeah.
but for now, no, we don't know if we will be recertified again. And
Yeah.
what we know is that it's way harder than before. So there's absolutely no guarantee. And we might
Yeah.
get bad news in 6 or 9 months. And if we get bad
Right.
news, probably we'll restart again 1 year afterwards,
Mm.
trying to get better once again.
Okay. Okay. I see. I see. All right. Well, that's sounds interesting, but also very complicated at the same time. Charles, we've spoken a lot about this concept of ROI, but I want to step back and actually talk a little bit more holistically about finances and numbers. The three friends or two friends and yourself with whom you started this business, am I correct to understand that none of you were from a finance background? Is that accurate?
Yeah, yes and no. We made our studies, and two of us studied finance at school. So we have
Oh,
a
okay.
small finance background from school.
Yeah.
But Izipizi was our first job. We had only done internships previously. I did an
Yeah.
internship in M&A. I had a partner doing an internship in finance, but it was really small training, if I may say.
Right.
And when we started, we were 24 years old. So we had to learn everything by ourselves. Yes.
Yeah. And there's absolutely nothing like actually doing this, in real life on the job. I guess what I'm curious about, Charles, is you're in 80 countries now. You have
Yes.
a team of 250 people. You've done
Yes.
all this without outside capital, from what I understand. You have clearly figured this out from a finance perspective, right? Whatever it is that one needs to know about scaling a company, I have to assume that you've mastered it. Are you profitable at the moment?
Of course, but we
Of
have
course,
to be
yeah.
profitable, and we are profitable nearly since the beginning. We raised a small amount of money. It was 2 years after the company creation from
Yeah.
two business angels, but it was
Mhm.
few hundreds of thousands of euros. So nothing compared to the huge money
Yeah.
raised in the US, which is in millions, tons of millions.
Sure,
But
sure.
after 3 years, we were profitable, and we have always been profitable, and we were always obsessed to be profitable year after year.
Okay, okay. Well, talk to me about how your relationship with finances and the financial statements has evolved over time. Going back 16 years or 15, 16 years when you were just getting started, how much time were you actually looking yeah, how much time were you spending looking at the finances back then? What were you looking at? And what does that look like today?
Yes, it's a good question. It changed a lot because when we started, we were three, and it's funny because I was handling business and finance. I had a partner
Mhm.
who was more on the products, the image, the brand, and another
Mhm.
partner who was more on the communication and marketing.
Mhm.
Um, so at first, I spent so much time on the finance parts, especially as the two first years we were not profitable. Uh,
Mhm.
we spent huge time at that time to raise our first few hundreds of thousands of euros. But
Yeah.
luckily, after that, we became profitable. We were in a wholesale business in many
Mhm.
countries. We were pretty comfortable. We had good margins on our products.
Mhm.
It's funny because the first products we had launched, we didn't have enough margin on it. So this was
Mm.
a difficult period. And when we
Mhm.
launched our reading glasses and then our sunglasses, etc., since day one, we had anticipated that the fact that we needed to give a margin to the store selling the products, to our big distributors in countries, and us
Mm.
still making money. So
Yeah.
when we calculated the final price, the retail price of our products, based on the production costs of a product of this product.
Mhm.
So after 3 years, we were profitable and pretty well profitable, but we had a philosophy with my partners to always grow step by step. So it was one country after the other. As I was saying, we didn't open subsidiaries in every country. We didn't open stores in every country. We opened one
Mm.
store. We saw it went well. It was profitable. So then we opened a second store and a third store and a fourth store. And then we
Mm.
accelerated the ramp up of the store openings. And we opened a subsidiary in one country and we saw it went well. So then we did a second country, a third country, a fourth country. So compared to companies I met in the US, we grew way less quickly, but
Mhm.
we grew with our own money, reinvested step by step. And this
Interesting.
allows us today to be still the majority, the big majority shareholders of our company with
Yeah.
my partners.
Yep.
Some of our team have shares also, and we have a
Mhm.
minority shareholder since 2022 called the Tower Brook, which is a
Mhm.
English American private equity fund, but which is B Corp
Ah.
certified also. and they own
Interesting.
25% of the company since 3 years and a half.
I see. Okay, interesting. And that was an opportunity for you guys as the founders to take some money off the table, I presume?
It was to replace the business angels that we had since the beginning.
Ah, okay.
And it was also to open the capital to part of our team.
I see. Okay, got it, got it. Well, talking about numbers and pricing and profitability, the other day when we
Yes.
chatted, you said something really interesting about pricing and positioning in Europe versus the
Yes.
US. Most of my audience is, US entrepreneurs and founders, and, some of
Yes.
them might be considering expanding to other parts of the world. You're kind of coming at this from the other angle. You're outside of the US and, coming into this market. My understanding is that in Europe, your positioning and pricing is, you'll describe it better than me, obviously, but like an affordable luxury type
Yes.
item, right? You're
Totally.
not
Totally.
super,
Totally.
super high end in terms of the
Yes.
pricing, but you're, accessible.
Yes.
Talk to me about how you have approached pricing in the US and what are some of the differences that you've noticed around pricing strategy between the US and the European marketplace?
Yes, but it's a good question. Yes, I think what made part of our success in Europe is that we had an amazing products for
Mm.
a very affordable amount, and I think our price ratio quality is great. I don't say that because it's my brand and my company, but honestly, it's true. Our
Not that you're
readers are
biased or
sold.
anything.
Our readers are sold 35 euros. Our sunglasses are sold 40 euros. And honestly, for
Uh-huh.
40 euros, you have a great pair of glasses, great quality, great style, great packaging, and sold
Yeah.
in beautiful places. So that's
Right.
what makes us affordable luxury, as you say, is that it's a
Hmm.
beautiful product sold in beautiful stores, but at a very affordable price. It
Yeah.
was Karl Lagerfeld, the previous fashion director of Chanel, who was saying mastige, products mastige. You have the prestige thing of the quality, the
Mm.
perception of the product, the design, but mass because you sell huge quantities of glasses to, that is our
Hmm.
case, to the whole world. When we
Okay.
arrived in the US, it's funny because we mainly heard that from department stores in the US, like Bloomingdale's, Saks, Neiman Marcus, etc., who were telling us, oh la la, you are not expensive enough. We prefer to sell Tom Ford, Gucci, Dior, very expensive glasses, which are sold $400, $500, $600 sunglasses,
Yeah.
rather than a pair of Izipizi, which is sold $60 in the US. And they were
Yeah.
scared that their customers would buy Izipizi instead of their Gucci, Tom Ford, or
Mm.
Dior pair of glasses.
Which
And
would
what
hurt
we
their
are trying
margins,
to explain
obviously.
to them, sorry,
Yeah. Which would hurt their margins, obviously. I mean, if they're going to
is
sell
this?
a pair of sunglasses, I assume they'd rather 50% of 400 rather than 50% of 60, right?
True, but what we try to
So how
explain
do
them,
you,
and this is what we see in Europe, is that our
yeah,
customers, they buy a pair of Tom Ford, Gucci, etc., but they will
yeah,
also buy a pair of Easy Peasy on top, because depending on what you do, what kind of sports you do, where you go, is it at the countryside, at the seaside, etc., you don't want to
mm,
have your very affordable pair of sunglasses with you in case you lose it, you break it, etc. And Easy
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Peasy really represent, for some of our customers, the number one pair they love. And for some other customers, I would say the number one piece or number two that they wear, and they don't care breaking it, losing it, or damaging it, because if they lose it, it's easy to buy another pair for 50 or 60 bucks.
right, right. Okay, interesting. Well, Charles, this has been super informative and interesting conversation. I've really enjoyed learning about the journey, and we're going to have to wrap things up very shortly. Well, Charles, my last question is a very easy one. Where should folks go if they would like to learn more about you or the business?
Yes, but of course, easypeasy.com. You'll find all
Mm-hmm.
our products, all our brand history, how we created. You'll see our carbon analysis. You'll see our
Mm-hmm.
B Corp certification, our values, our commitments. all our rangers. I'd be happy to get your feedbacks. And then in the US, we have around 700 resellers now. I was
Hmm.
mentioning the MoMA in New York, Bloomingdale's, Nordstrom. If you go on our website, you have what's called our store locator, and all our
Okay.
resellers in the US are mentioned there. If
Hmm.
you come to Paris, you are more than welcome at the Izipizi house where we are in the center of Paris. We
Hmm.
have around 10 stores in France. You'll see us all around Europe. We are way more visible in Europe than in the US. And then now we are more and more in South America also, in Middle East, in Asia,
Oh,
thanks
wow.
to our
Okay.
great distributors with
Mm.
monobrand stores, pop-ups, kiosks, corners, etc. So we really want to
Yep.
build our brand worldwide.
Okay. And you personally, are you active on any of the social platforms, LinkedIn,
No,
Instagram?
not at all.
No,
Not
flying
at all.
under the radar.
I'm
Okay.
on there. I'm on there to follow, of course,
Yeah.
Instagram, LinkedIn, etc., etc. But I never post anything. I never talk about myself. We have always been trying to hide behind our company, behind our products. So it's more corporate communication. But I'm doing this
Got it.
podcast today to help our subsidiary getting known. But you never see me posting anything on Instagram or on LinkedIn. No.
Okay, no problems. Well, I'll include the company, the company social profiles below. It sounds like there might be a
Yes,
bit more going on there. But Charles, thank you
yes.
again for joining us today on Profits on Purpose. It's been lovely having you, and good luck with the ongoing expansion in the US. Really appreciate the time, and wish you all the best. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye bye, Nate. Thank you.